Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Marina. I just turned 30. So today we're talking about my 20s and just doing a little reflection on my 20s. I thought this would be a cool video to do to just kind of encapsulate and reminisce on the highlights, the lowlights, talk about what my expectations were for my 20s and then what actually happened, and kind of talk about what I'm excited about for my 30s. So if that interests you, then grab a drink and let's get into it. So to start off, I'm going to do a little recap of my 20s. So after college, I moved home for just a second. I live in the Philadelphia area, grew up in the Philadelphia area. I went to school in Ohio. So I moved home and then I decided I didn't want to move home because I was a different person after graduating college. So I decided to move to Colorado because my older brother was there and he's like, there's so many young people, there's so much going on, and it's just a really fun place to live if you're young. So I took the leap and moved to Colorado. This was 2018, spring of 2018. So I moved there and didn't really know anyone except for my brother, and lived there until 2023. So for a good amount of time, and I would say that was like the primary chunk of my 20s. As an adult, because I was in college for a little bit in the beginning. But my hopes for my 20s, I don't know if I had expectations. I do know that I thought I would be married by 25 and would have babies, and that was something that I was like, oh, for sure this will happen. It didn't. Here I am. We're single. We're in our 30s now. So yeah, that is something I thought would happen, and I thought that, I don't know, being an adult would be a lot more fun, because when you're young and you're in school and you're locked into the school program situation, you think about being an adult and how you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, which is true, but there's a lot more responsibility that you don't even know goes into it. Especially like, you're like, wow, my parents handled all these things and now I have to deal with it and figure it out. And there's so many things that you're not taught, just basic life skills that you have to figure out, and I feel like it takes a lot of time to like get a rhythm, get a feel for it, and just all of that. So yeah, I moved to Colorado shortly after college, and then lived there for a while. I started out in customer service. I studied marketing, but I didn't have any experience, and it's hard to get a job in your industry if you don't have literally any work experience. I did some internships, but I was just like, I just need to get a job. So I got a job in customer service and did that for like a year. And there I met like one of my best friends of all time. So blessed. Customer service wasn't the most glamorous job, but I did meet my best friend from it. And then I also met a friend that I'm still friends with now, and she moved back to the East Coast. She was originally from the East Coast. And yeah, so I met two really good friends in that first job, which is really great. And then from there I moved into marketing and worked for a startup, which is what I really wanted to do. And that was a really cool experience. And then I moved into working for myself and being a fashion reseller because I loved thrifting. And it started as a side hustle, and then I moved it into a full-time thing. And it was really cool to do it for 2 years, and I'm really proud of myself for that. And then I moved home, and then I moved back into marketing. And then what brought me home was actually my mom got sick with cancer, so I moved home to help out with that. And then just decided to stay to be near family. So yeah, that's kind of the whirlwind of my 20s, I would say. Most of it was lived in Colorado, jumped around to a couple of different jobs. I am working in marketing and fashion now. So the startup that I worked at was also clothing. So I was also doing marketing for a clothing company. So there's like a common thread of I was doing something with clothing or marketing pretty much, which is funny because I've always enjoyed those fields, but it wasn't my intention to be in fashion. It was a dream of mine, but I just never pursued it. It kind of just happened for me, which is funny how life works. I'd say that's like an overview of the trajectory of my 20s, just to get a general feel for it. And then I thought I would talk about the highlights, things I'm most proud of, the things I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I did that, and just like the highlight reel of my 20s. So I would say the first thing is, yeah, moving across the country. That's a huge deal. I'm really proud of myself that I did that. I feel like that's very intimidating. A lot of people just move home. I'm proud of myself that I took the risk. I didn't know people there, so it's not like I moved without knowing anyone. But yeah, it was a really cool experience to experience a new city in my 20s, and to just, it was a really cool time in my life, especially the first like year where everything is new and exciting, and yeah, that was really special. And then I also say I'm really proud that I started my own business. I took the risk. I'm not usually a risk taker. I'd say I'm pretty conservative and practical with how I go about life. I'm not spontaneous or impulsive by any means, but I think because it was a side hustle, and then I lost my job, and it was just like something that I already had going. I was like, okay, I should try this. And I'm so proud that I did it for 2 years and managed to not, fail. It wasn't like a cash cow by any means, but it did cover my expenses, and I am really proud of that. And I went for it and created systems and all of that. So that was really a cool experience. I would say another thing I'm proud of is I did try things out of my comfort zone a lot. Living in Colorado, it's very outdoorsy. There's a lot of extreme sports, and I would say I'm not an extreme person. So I definitely was pushed to almost peer pressured into getting a ski pass for 2 years. That was really fun. On the East Coast, I didn't really ski much. I went maybe once or twice in my whole life up until that point. So that was really exciting and cool to try out and to get to know the ski culture and to like partake in that like weekend adventure. Weekend warriors as they are in Colorado. I feel like everyone goes hard on the weekends, and I do love that about Colorado and the people there. It wasn't for me, I would say. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't at the level that most people there were skiing. They were skiing black diamonds and racing to the bottom of the hill, but I'm glad I tried it. Same with hiking 14ers, which is like really extreme. It's basically an all-day thing. You wake up at the butt crack of dawn and you scale a mountain, and I'm so glad I tried it. I gave it a go, something out of my comfort zone. Yeah, so I'm proud of myself for pushing myself out of my comfort zone. They ended up not being things for me, but I am glad I did it. I'm really proud that I lived on my own also. I had some tricky roommate situations. Some of them were really great, some of them were not so great. And there was, after COVID especially, there was a situation. So I decided to live on my own. Everyone was like, you're gonna hate it, you're gonna be really lonely. And it was really good for me at the time. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like it really pushed me to be independent and to learn all the things you need to learn as an adult, because when you live with other people, some people have been experienced more than you and like take care of things that you don't even know need to be taken care of. But when you're on your own, it's like, okay, you got to figure this all out. There's no one there picking up the pieces that you maybe didn't even know need to be picked up. So I'm proud of myself for doing that, and it was a really fun, cutie little apartment in Capitol Hill, Colorado, in Denver. That was really fun. Say another thing that I'm really proud of and look back on, I'm like, that was a highlight, is I traveled a lot in my 20s. I went to Europe multiple times, Italy, visited my sister when she was studying abroad, studied abroad myself. I think I was in my 20s. I think I was 20 then. Yeah, traveled across the country multiple times. I did a walk across America. I road tripped across America with my brother and then this other girl. So I really did see a lot of the country and new places, and I feel like I got a better understanding of the world. Yeah, which was really cool. And I prioritized traveling. Even though I wasn't making the big bucks, I really made it work, and I'm proud of myself for doing that, because there'll probably come a time in my life where I'm not able to do that and I have other responsibilities, but I'm glad I took advantage and did it while the opportunity was there. So now I want to talk about the challenges, the hard parts, the rough patches of my 20s, to keep it real, to balance it out. I would say one of the big ones, and I'm sure for everyone, COVID was a rough patch. It was just a lot of uncertainty, as you all know. I think I worked from home and I had roommates who were nurses or teachers, and so their schedules were kind of funky, and the groups of people they had to work with, it just created weird dynamics, I would say. Yeah, it was a weird time, and it's kind of a bummer that took away like 2 years of my 20s, but what can you do? I'm glad we got past it and we're all healthy and okay for the most part. But yeah, that was definitely a bummer. Another thing I would say is losing my job, that was rough. I mean, it definitely encouraged me to start my own business and to try that out, and that was really fun and a blessing, but it definitely was a bummer. I would say another thing is I had a lot of fake friends in my 20s. I wanted to make a bunch of friends to do fun things with, as we all do, and I don't think I was vetting my friends or being as particular as I should have been because, you know, they flaked, they weren't loyal and true, and I invested a lot of time, and, you know, that time isn't, I can't get it back. So that is a bummer. So lesson learned. I think with that, as I mentioned before, I had run-ins with some difficult roommate situations, so that kind of goes with that. But, you know, we all, I think no one gets out of their 20s without a little relationship drama. I would say another hard thing was losing my mom to cancer in my 20s. This was like later in my 20s again when I moved home to help her. It was a really tough time, and it took me probably a year and a half to recover, and feel like myself. And during that same time, I moved to a new place where I didn't have my life. I stepped away from a life I had built for 5 years, so that was really challenging. And to just move back home where I grew up and seeing all these people that I knew as a kid and not having my adult life established and adult relationships, it definitely is hard. And transitioning to moving home with my dad and my sisters, definitely a rough patch. Not all bad, but just different and challenging. Yeah, that was rough, and just I think they'll take much more time to continue to heal, and it's just been a whole, you know, journey. It's really been a journey. Yeah, so I would say those are the key valleys in my 20s, but there were definitely some peaks. Like my first year was just glorious in Colorado, and there were some really good years there, and I feel like I'm on the up and up now, so it's a lot of peaks and valleys. So yeah, a little summary of my 20s. I would say overall wasn't bad, but I'm hoping my 30s are a little better. I definitely had some dreams of being, you know, married with kids and like have my whole world and my place figured out, and that is not the case. But that's okay, because unexpected things happened, and I've grown so much from it, and I've, you know, gained a lot of good friends over time, and we're now on a good spot, and we're on the up and up, you know? So yeah, so some things I'm looking forward to in my 30s. I'm hoping that since I've gotten more of a grip on being an adult, I've had my experience being an adult for 10 years now, that I feel like I have more confidence on how to navigate everything, relationships, loss, love, you know, all the hardships, all the happy things, and just, you know, how to be a working woman and take care of my home and my life and all of that, and finding friends as an adult. I'm excited to have that confidence and those skill sets really nailed in good, so that it's just a little more easy, not as rocky. As we know, there were some low points that revolved around those things, and some of those things can't be avoided, but at least I'll have some tools, some experience to hopefully make it a little easier. I'm also looking forward to the fact that I have some really solid friends now, and I think having great people with you in your journey and living life with you is really a blessing and adds so much joy. I'm near my family, which is really great, and I've made some solid friends. I've reconnected with some childhood friends who are just good ones, who I know will be there, will be loyal, who enjoy adventure, and will just add some good spice to life. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited to hopefully meet my spouse. I know nothing is guaranteed, but there is the hope of that, and that there is that adventure that hasn't taken place yet, and I get to hopefully get there with somebody and start a family, and that is really exciting to possibly step into that chapter, God willing. So that's really exciting. And then, yeah, just exploring the East Coast. I feel like I explored, you know, the West, Midwest, whatever, Colorado, is categorized as, and it was very beautiful, but there isn't a lot of like cities or culture going on out there. I'm excited to be on the East Coast where there's just so much diversity and it's just so condensed that it's just easy to bop around and experience so many different things. And now that I'm, in a more advanced spot in my career, I'll be able to afford to do all of that, and I have some good friends to come along for the adventure, so I'm really excited about that. And there's just so much to explore, so I'm sure I'll take you guys along on those adventures. But yeah, I'm excited for my 30s. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm trying to channel, my Meg Ryan 90s rom-com vibe. I'm trying to romanticize my 30s and make it really great. I've made a playlist of romanticizing my life of all of like my favorite rom-com like songs from I don't know, You've Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle, all my favorite rom-coms where it just makes you feel like something is about to happen and you're just living your life. And I feel like that's so true. You just live your life and things will happen that you're expecting or waiting around, but you're just living your life. So I'm hoping to really lean into that, just romanticize and just see the beauty of the regular day and the regular life. And that's kind of what this channel is about, just romanticizing regular people and regular life and seeing what little surprises and adventures crop up and happen. And it's really exciting. Life is exciting. And of course there'll be hardship. Of course there'll be, valleys as well as peaks. But I'm excited. And yeah, it's been kind of fun to reflect and see how it plays out. Could check back in 10 years and see if all the things that I'm excited for will come to fruition. But I appreciate you guys listening and talk to you soon. I'll probably make another video regarding turning 30. I feel like it's a big milestone and I have a lot of thoughts. I've been thinking, trying to like accept and let go of my 20s and just get excited for a new decade. So I feel like I have some thoughts and things to share. So if you're interested in like a series, maybe let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. That would really help me out. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.